Hello, 7th grade. Hope we're all doing well. Again, I said this week's going to be a review lesson to touch base on some things that we were working on right before we all kind of went into break and we all had a permanent vacation for a while. So just want to retouch base on it because I feel like if we hear it again a second time, maybe it'll stick a little bit better. And rather than we're always approaching something new week in and week out, not being in the classroom. So I think this would be a good idea to hear something again, and that's kind of why we're doing it. So lesson 75, that's where we're going to start, okay? Lesson 75, it says area of a complex figure or area of a trapezoid. What the book is referring to of a complex figure is it's just saying two shapes that are put together. And in most cases, it's a rectangle with a triangle. Sometimes it's a square with a triangle. But that's all it means. Complex figures are two shapes put together. Okay, and then the other one, the area of a trapezoid, is just the area of a trapezoid, which we will get into that here in a couple examples now. So we're just going to go ahead and start with example 1. Okay, and it says, find the area of this figure. The corners that look square are square. The dimensions are in millimeters. Okay, so when I look at that, and I'll draw it on the board here. Okay, that's kind of what it looks like. It says 4, 6, 10. It's probably a little skewed of a drawing, but I believe it's 4, 7, 10, 16. Yep, okay. So I'll draw that out. I see two shapes here. If you dot this line down, straight down, I see a rectangle right here and a triangle right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of both figures. Okay, the area of a rectangle is base times height. We can see this is across would be the base. It says 16, but 16 is all the way. That's from there to there. Okay, I just want from this line to the dotted line, which we can see is 7. So we're going to take 7 times 10 because the area of a rectangle is just base times height for area of rectangle. Okay, just base times height. Well, that's just 7 times 10, which equals 70 millimeters squared. Okay, so that's just the rectangle. I'm going to write the number 70 mm squared just inside the rectangle. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and do the triangle. Okay, and we need to know the formula for area of a triangle, which is the exact same thing as the rectangle. You do the base times height. Okay, so let's just start there. Base times height. Do that first, and then at the very end, you're going to divide that answer by 2. Okay, so here's the base. The base is from the dotted line here to that line. So we already knew this piece right here we used was 7. So from there to there was 7. Okay, we know the whole thing's 16, so we just need to figure out what is this. We're going to do 16 subtract 7. Okay, and what you're going to end up getting is you're going to end up getting 9. So the base of this triangle is just 9. Now, what's the height? Well, we know, here's the dotted line, that's the height. Okay, well the whole thing from the bottom of the triangle to the top of the rectangle, so too far, is 10. But we know this little piece right here, this extra piece, is 4. So all we know is just going to be 10 minus 6, which the height of the triangle is 4. So we're going to do 4 times 9 over here. And 4 times 9 is going to equal 36. We're going to take the answer of 36 and divide it by 2 for an answer of 18 here now. So we have 18 millimeters squared for the triangle. We have 70 millimeters squared for the rectangle, and we need to add those together for 88 millimeters squared. Okay? You can kind of see that. So a complex figure, again, all we did was we broke it down into two shapes, a triangle and a rectangle, and you have to know the areas of the different shapes. Again, one more time here. Area of a rectangle is base times height. Okay? Area of a triangle is base times height, and then divide the whole thing by 2. And then what we do, we added these together, 18 and 70, and we got 88 millimeters squared. Okay? We'll go ahead and go to example 2. Okay, so example 2. This one's, it's kind of also two shapes. I like to look at this one as just a normal rectangle, but there's a piece of it missing. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I view this part right here. I guess I'll put the numbers in. 6, 10, 10, 3. So we got 6 on top. We got a 10 on the side, top to bottom. We got a 10 on the bottom from left to right there. And then we got a little 3 right here. So as I like to see, I like to look at this as, this is really a rectangle, but it's missing this corner piece cut out of it. So the dotted line that I just made is the spot that's cut out, right? So I view this as a whole rectangle with a slice off of it, okay? And we know in the whole rectangles, if you're doing the area, you do the base times the height. So let's just assume this is a rectangle, and we do, obviously, 10 times 10, which equals 100. Okay, I forget what units we're in. We're in centimeters. So 100 centimeters squared. Obviously, it's not going to be that big because we're missing this piece. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to find the area of the triangle, and then we're going to subtract it from 100. Okay, so it's just the triangle flipped upside down. But remember, when you do height of a triangle, you have to do the vertical piece. The piece that goes straight up and down, not the piece that slants. That's not the height, okay? So here's the base. This is question mark right there. We know that 10 is all the way across. Well, it's already used 6. So the missing piece is going to be a 4. That's our base. And now we're looking for this piece right here, which is the height, from the dotted line to the top of the dotted line right there. And again, this side is 10. We've already used 3. So what is our remainder? There's 7 left. So when you do the area of this triangle, you're going to do 4 times 7 because that's base times height. 4 times 7 is 28. And that comes down to 28. Divided by 2, which is 14. Now, the area of the missing piece is 14 centimeters squared. So you need to take that off of the 100. Okay, so you're going to subtract 14. You're going to get 86 centimeters squared. Kind of get out of the way so you can see. Okay. So those ones should be no problem because we've done area of rectangles before. We've done areas of triangles before. You just need to remember the exact formulas, okay? The last one we only touched based on right before we kind of had our permanent vacation that we've had. So, and that's trapezoids. Now, a trapezoid, just like the area of a rectangle and like the area of a triangle, a trapezoid is going to have a different area. So, I'm going to write that on the board. Area of trapezoid. And if you look in the book, in example 3 in the solution, the very first line of it, it says the area equals half of the B1 plus B2. Well, B1 and B2 is base 1 and base 2. So if we look here, here's a normal trapezoid. Okay? This is considering base 1 or base 2, it doesn't matter. And then the top part is going to be base 2. If you want to consider this base 2 and this base 1, it doesn't matter. It's just, these are the bases right here, top and bottom. So that's the part, as you see in parentheses there, that's the part you need to add first. So when I write this, I'm going to write the area equals 1/2 times B1 plus B2. So do that part first always. Add the bases, top and bottom. Whenever you see a trapezoid, add both top and bottom. Then you're going to times it by 1/2 or cut it in half. Okay? After that, you times it by the height at the end. Okay, so remember, the height will be marked by a dotted line either here or a dotted line either marked here. It is not the slanted part. Okay, so if we look at that one and we see they write it like such, here's the example. Okay, there's the example up here, 10's on top. They do the dotted line. You have a little right angle in there. They have a number 6, and then 7's on the bottom. Okay, so here's the two bases, which are the top and the bottom, and you add them together. That's the very first step. So we get 10 plus 7, okay, and that's going to be 17. We're then going to take 17, we're going to divide it by 2. That's the same thing as multiplying it by 1/2. 17 divided by 2, if you want to get technical, you can just go like this. Okay, it's going to go in 8 times. There's 1 left over, decimal, decimal 0. Drop this down. How many times does 2 go into 10? 5. As you can see, so that would be 8.5. Okay, now we need to take 8.5. We've done this. We added the bases, 10 and 7, got 17. We times it by 1/2. We actually divided by 2. It's the same thing. We got 8.5. Now we need to take 8.5 times 6, which is the height. So we end up doing 6 times 5, which is 30, and 6 times 8, which is 48 plus 3, which is 51. Okay. Move, don't forget you have 1 decimal here, so you can start over here. Move it once. 51 centimeters squared is final answer. Okay, so the only one that's really going to be, again, kind of new again, and we're just touch base on this again, is the trapezoid. It has a different area than the squares and the rectangles and the triangles. It has its own formula. Okay, and as you can see, one more time, add the bases. This could be base 1. This could be base 2. It doesn't matter. It's just add the top and bottom. Do that first. Times by 1/2 next, or divide by 2. We divided by 2. Okay, we got 8.5. And at the very end, you times it by the height. The height is always listed as straight vertical up and down. 8.5 times 6, 51 centimeters squared. Again, 7th grade, I hope that helped. If you have questions or anything, we're going to meet on Wednesdays and Thursdays at our normal times, and we look forward to seeing you there. So have a good day.